I'm Mike Davidson for Voices of the Silenced, and we're here outside the Maltese Embassy asking the ambassador for Malta to reconsider the way in which the Maltese government, through Minister Helena Dali, has treated Matthew Grech, an X Factor candidate who has been silenced about his ex-gay testimony. Matthew Grech, thank you so much for being here today in London. As you look back and think about your experience in X Factor, have you any thoughts?
Yes, I definitely celebrate my X Factor Malta experience, and I'm grateful that my interview was broadcasted and aired despite the controversy. Unfortunately, the multitudes and including the politicians, the government in Malta has expressed quite a lot of hatred towards my story and my life experience. However, the good side of the story is that my church family, River of Love Christian Fellowship, and my pastor, Gordon John, has supported me tremendously, the whole spiritual family. Allianza Bidla, which is a Maltese political party, has been of tremendous help. Dr. Ivan Grech Mintoff was so supportive. And then United Kingdom, Christian Concern, IFTCC, Core Issues Trust have showed me so much love and hospitality and support in a very practical way. And I feel so welcome here in the UK. I was saved. I gave my life to Jesus in the United Kingdom. So this is a very special place to be. I'm really grateful that I can take a stand and be pro-choice and support individuals who want to move away from homosexual lifestyles. I want the hope of being able to have a family, lead a family. I think it's wonderful to take this stand today, and I encourage all the churches to rise up and be a voice, because we're meant to make a huge difference. So thank you for having me.
Well, it's so good to have you, and thank you for coming. Andrea Williams, thank you so much for being here today. Why is it important for Christians to stand up in culture today when it comes to ex-gay?
Well, the story of Matthew is the most stunning story of transformation. And that story is going out across Malta. He brings the hope, the healing and the restoration that is found in Jesus Christ. And that's a message that we want to keep on telling. And the most fantastic thing about him and his story and the friends that he has around him and his life is that it's a story that isn't just for him, but a story for all of us, that each one of us can move away from our sin. Now, that's a message of hope. And not to be able to speak that is anti-gospel.
But the church doesn't seem to have very much to say about this issue. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, what I'm loving here is that Matthew's church does. And I want the churches that don't to take a look at Matthew's church, see how they've got behind him, see how they're growing, and see how that movement is growing in Malta. And I am praying that as a result of Matthew and his friends and his church, that we will see news and reformation and revival coming in Malta. We'll see the government change. We'll see a move of God in Malta. I'm waiting for that. And I think it could well be because Matthew and his friends and a church like Matthew's has stood in the gap. And that's what we need to learn to do. We need to have the courage of our convictions. We need to really believe that the gospel is power and that the gospel changes. Just look at Matthew, just look at this story, and let's shout it out.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Privileged to be here. I love it.
I'm here with Ivan Grech Mintoff, the leader of Allianza Bidla, the opposition party in Malta. Ivan, why are you here today?
First of all, Mike, before I answer that question, it's a huge shame. It's a massive shame for the Maltese government that we came here simply to deliver a letter to the Maltese Commission in London, and it was first of all accepted for us to do so, and then suddenly, because they see us here, they refuse to accept this letter. I'm here because, put simply, if I was to do this speech in Malta instead of in London, I would probably get arrested and accused of promoting gay therapy. This is not the case. Today I am here in London to promote a film, a testimony of a young man who found God in his life and who changed his sexual orientation, a preference, and he decided to express this to the world. In all of the world, this is called freedom of expression, freedom of religion, but not in Malta since 2016. I am very ashamed that the Maltese government has decided to remove people's rights, to use Maltese Parliament to remove people's rights. But even worse, this is happening right now in England. So the British should be very well aware that what happened in Malta a few years back and is now law is also going to happen to them. They should be aware and they should stop this act from happening in England as well. What happened to Matthew Grech and to all the Maltese is now also happening in England. Please be careful, because the Parliament is about to take away basic human rights from the British public. And the British should say no to such an act. Parliament should never be used by anyone to take away human rights.
Thank you for coming, Ivan Grech Mintoff. For Voices of the Silenced, I'm Mike Davidson.